So welcome to the 17th or 18th episode of Ashes to Ashes. We have not one but two very special guests on today. We have Weird Al MPREG and Weird Al MPREG 2. So welcome to the podcast, both of you.
Thank you.
Oh, voice modulation. That's advanced.
Kind of like a thing one and thing two.
Is protect our identity.
Protect your identity. Alright, so
Yeah,
That's
okay,
understandable.
you're like Deep Throat from Watergate.
These are, after all, very important and secretive matters.
they are. So Weird Al MPREG has a website called, weirdalmpreg.com. I'll link it in the description. And you can take a look at it for yourself. It is based on a sort of theory that they've got going, which is that Weird Al Yankovic is pregnant. He is a man that's pregnant. So, for any viewers who... This is my first question of the interview. For any new viewers listening in who don't know what this is, how would you describe your theory in one sentence?
Weird Al MPREG.
Just that Weird Al is pregnant. That's all I can really say.
Alright, Weird Al is pregnant. Okay, so you've mentioned here that he's been pregnant since 2014, and the explanation for that was that the testosterone is sort of stunting the growth of the baby and it needs to spend a longer amount of time inside a man.
Perhaps.
So I can see you
Perhaps there were
multiple pregnancies.
Well, there is no solid proof that Weird Al's first child was conceived by his wife.
That's interesting.
There are very few photos of her during pregnancy.
Yeah. Okay, so his first child could have actually... We're not just talking about one child here. It could have been multiple children that were birthed from Weird Al. Is that correct?
It's very possible.
And what was the first thing that suggested to you that Weird Al might be pregnant?
There are plenty things I think that could be. I think the biggest things would be sort of his personality, the way he acts, and the way that he looks.
Yeah, he's... would you like to elaborate on, like, the way that he acts?
Sort of like making impulse decisions, like when he let his kid dye his hair. That was a thing that we put on the website.
Okay. And you've got one photo on the website really jumps out at me. It's this one here. It's just uploading right now. It's called babybump.png. So you can see in it, there is something like... It looks... Really, it's kind of obvious there. It's sticking out of him, isn't it? I've posted it in the Dust Cord channel for you to see it.
Yes, there
That
is.
is one of the most, in my opinion, the most obvious. Like he very clearly has a baby bump.
Yeah.
There is quite certainly a bulge there.
Yeah, there is. So that was a really interesting one to me. Here's another question. So do you think that it's possible that Weird Al is secretly a woman and pregnant, or do you think that this is a new male pregnancy technology?
100% new male pregnancy technology. Weird Al has shown no evidence of him being transgender, and there's no solid proof that he was ever born a woman. So it's safe to assume that this is some new technology.
Okay. And do you think they're using this new technology on him, a celebrity, to sort of normalize it so people get more used to it?
That, and I believe that he inquired of the technology first. It was made based around him. He had a desire to have a child, and we believe that it obviously was not quenched by his first child. And he realized that maybe it wasn't the child, but the pregnancy itself that he needed to recreate. I do sort of like to believe, the rich people and the celebrities, they kind of find out about things before the rest of the world. So perhaps in small celebrity circles, things about male pregnancy technology had been going around, and he was sort of just the first to inquire and offer himself to them for testing.
Yeah, yeah, I like
There are
that.
many,
Oh, sorry, you continue.
there are many things that the government is not telling us.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Something we can all agree on.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's an interesting point you brought up about celebrities knowing things before we do because this stuck with me when I was researching this. I remember this. Do you remember that really old sitcom called Bewitched? It's like about like a witch living in the modern world, but it's like 1950s or 60s. There was an episode where like I think it's her husband from Bewitched. He gets pregnant, and it's like a whole episode revolving around the male pregnancy and how like he becomes interviewed by the news and everything. I guess maybe that's worth. I'd probably give it a watch again after recording this episode.
I'm not familiar with the series.
Ah, yeah. Um, so if this idea of male pregnancy technology is correct, it would mean a lot for the future. What could you foresee happening if this technology becomes normalized?
I could see it going around, especially probably with transgender individuals who cannot get pregnant, or maybe this technology could be used for cisgendered women if they can't get pregnant, or just any men. So everybody has equal opportunity to get pregnant and give birth.
Hmm. And do you think it's sort of similar to this whole we've been hearing a lot about artificial wombs in the past few years and how they've been growing like with technology? Do you think that this could help with breakthroughs? One could help with the other?
I think those two things probably go very hand in hand because with what's happening with Weird Al, he has to grow it himself, and that is very clearly taking a very long time. But with an artificial womb, you wouldn't have to go through all the time to grow one, so it would be probably a normal pregnancy length if you combined those two things together.
Hmm.
We also believe that the technology that causes MPREG, or stands for male pregnancy, excuse me, it may help the declining birth rate crisis in Japan. Um, Many people are saying inside they just aren't having enough kids, and their population is falling to record lows.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It could really revolutionize things.
So I have a question. Outside of Weird Al, have you seen any other examples of this kind of thing happening or the process starting with anyone else?
I've mainly focused on Weird Al. Um, we know that the idea of MPREG is popular among fan fiction and fetish sites, which I would like to add. Weird Al MPREG is not a fetish or sexual in any way. It is strictly a theory. The term MPREG is simply a term meaning male pregnancy, and it does not overlap with the fetish. But no, it's certainly not a new idea.
Hmm. Okay. Um, Here's another really specific question I had. In Weird Al Yankovic's 1988 music video for his song parody Fat, which was a song parody of Michael Jackson's Bad, right? He has this scene in the introduction where his belly like rapidly expands and all the buttons pop off. Yeah?
Oh shit, foreshadowing.
Do you think this was foreshadowing from all the way back then about how he wanted to be pregnant?
There is no Awesome. proof that he was pregnant in that time, but I like to think back to that as an example of perhaps him sort of low-key expressing that that is a thing that he wishes to do with his life.
Yeah, that's.
It also, excuse me,
Oh, I was just gonna say that's pretty reasonable.
it also shows that he's not afraid to take risks with his body and alter his appearance. Um, he is a very eccentric man, and he's willing to do a lot in front of the public.
Yeah, so my next question was going to be, do you think that Weird Al is complicit in this and did he want to get pregnant? But from the interview, it's a pretty resounding yes, huh?
Yes, my personal belief is that Weird Al wants to be pregnant. This is for personal reasons, and although he's done his best to keep it from us and keep the technology secret, well, obviously we're having this interview now.
Yeah.
I
Alrighty.
do not believe it's something that he's hiding because he's ashamed of. I just think he is trying to hide it because, I mean, all of his career he's been a very personal person, trying to keep his family and personal life away from his celebrity life in a way.
Hmm.
And I just believe that that's what's happening. I don't think that it's something that he's exactly ashamed of.
Alright. Yeah, so he's... Okay, so he's not doing it for any, like, malicious reason. He's just doing it for, really, himself.
My personal belief is that he, to fulfill his desires to have a child, he's working with the United States government or perhaps some sort of branch of the U.S. government, and obviously it's top secret, so he doesn't want to let it get out.
Hmm.
Excuse me, some water.
All good.
He just in hand in hand with the U.S. government. Excuse me.
While they're busy, I guess we'll just have a discussion among the hosts. So, what is your favorite Weird Al song, you know?
Yep.
Joe?
My favorite what?
Weird Al Yankovic song.
I like the Drive Through song.
Oh yeah? Cole, what's yours?
Let's see. Fuck, I have to think. That's somebody else.
Alright, while you're thinking, I'll ask Thortek. Thortek, what's your favorite Weird Al song?
Yeah, the drive-through one as well.
The drive-through one? Alright, you know what? I'm actually a pretty big fan of White and Nerdy. I think it's pretty funny. Yeah, sorry for the little bit of a interruption here. Technical difficulties.
I was not asked, but my favorite Weird Al song is 100% Amish Paradise.
Amish Paradise, yeah, that's another classic. That's a good one.
Yeah, that was the one I was considering.
Weird Al MPREG, you feeling better?
So what
I
was
kind
gonna
of like
say,
The Saga Begins.
Dark history and
It's the Star Wars parody.
Weird Al wants to be now pregnant, and he's using United States government technology, which means he has to keep it secret. I personally believe that if it wasn't top secret technology, he would probably be very vocal about it, and you know, it might even be faster. He might have started earlier, but there's just a lot we don't know.
Oh yeah, and I'll ask you as well for good measure. Weird Al MPREG 1. What is your favorite Weird Al song? Do you have one?
You never go wrong with the classics. I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. I like Eat It.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
Like on the
you
topic
can never go wrong with any Weird Al.
conspiracy theories and so forth. There is one conspiracy theory that Michael Jackson is an alien.
We will discuss that after the episode, Joe. I appreciate your enthusiasm. I've got a couple more questions though. So my last few questions are this: if Weird Al were here, what would you say to him?
I've thought about it a lot, and I genuinely don't know what I would say to him. And I really don't know what I would say to him if he asked about the website.
Would you give him your support?
Of course, I 100% support his decision.
Okay.
We've thought about contacting Al himself, but we decided if this is top secret technology, we don't want to make our theory. We don't want him to know just yet that we know. We try to stay underground. We advertise through Reddit and Discord, but we don't use the mainstream social media sites in an effort to keep semi-secrecy. And we don't know what would happen if Weird Al came in contact with us. We don't know if we would get a copyright strike. We don't know. We've faced several DDoS attacks.
Oh really?
Yes, my internet was down for 4 weeks.
Jeez. Well, I guess Maybe there is some truth to this then, huh?
From what I know of Weird Al, I think that, I mean, like, as much as I can know anything about a public figure, I think that whether what you're saying is true or not, I think he would like what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I think he'd embrace it.
Yeah.
No comment.
Mm. Are you actually Weird Al Yankovic? Like, are either of you... This is the question that I had the whole episode waiting for. Are either of you actually Weird Al Yankovic and you're doing this?
Oh, shit.
Or are you just actually different people? I don't know, it's really out there, but...
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I had a bunch of animals run into my room and I did not hear the question.
That's...
Snakes?
Huh? That's all good. Don't worry about it, alright? We'll leave that one up to the viewers to decide. So, thank you for joining us for the interview today. We'll have a link to your website in the description. And is there anything else you want us to link? You know, if you got a... you said you had a Reddit account?
Anything to shield?
Subscribe to r/WeirdAlMPreg, and stay tuned for new updates to the website.
We also have a
After-
YouTube channel. We have not uploaded anything yet, but we plan to soon.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Email us at weirdalmpreg@gmail.com for any questions, or you could drop our Discord tag in the biography or description. I'm not sure what it's called.
Description, yeah.
And if you feel free to message us any questions you have about Weird Al MPREG. And stay skeptical, allies.
Allies, I like that. Alright. Thank you. So, there you have it, everyone. That was on Weird Al MPREG and Weird Al MPREG 2 and their interview. So I hope you've all got some interest in it. Now, this has been Ashes to Ashes with both Weird Al MPREGs, you know, Cole, Joe, Throwtech, and myself. Yeah, we'll catch you on the flip side, gamers.